Hey guys, what is up? It is Chaos here, and today I'm bringing you a Mass Effect Andromeda build. Now, this is probably going to be my first video on Andromeda. I was going to do a series, but I just is so big and massive, the game. I don't think that I could have committed too well to that. So, here I am with a build video. I'm rank 35, I think. Rank 36. And I've been farming a lot to get to this rank, just so I could bring you guys a build video. And my today is going to be a vanguard build. Now, I have fallen in love with this build. I've fallen in love with melee ever since the beginning of the game. You can just do such mass amounts of damage with it, but it does have its flaws. Like flying enemies per se. That's its flaw. Let's just get into the video. Alright, so getting into my build, first off I want to go over my squad mates. Now, I'm running with Cora, and the first one's kind of optional, but one that you have to have is Drac, and I'll get onto that here in just a minute. But anyway, Cora. Alright, she has Charge Nova and Shield Boost. Shield Boost you want probably the most, and this is basically just going over it, because this can infect your entire team, including you. So, it's really good. Moving on to Drac, for him, I'm running Blood Rage. This is a must, and you have to have him if you're running a Vanguard melee build. He's just so good, and here's the reason why. Blood Rage. This basically turns your melee attacks, because this also affects you. It also affects him, and he does a pretty good amount of damage himself. But this also affects you, which is great. Or as far as I know, it affects you. Now here's what I went for this, and I'm not gonna go over all the details. If you guys want to go and look for yourself, you can. But here's what I got for it. Moving on to my character, of course I'm running Vanguard, so I'll just show you that right now. Combat fitness and combat tools are, like, these are the ones that you really need. Now, moving on to combat fitness, you can see that I've pretty much gone for shield regeneration, and, of course, carry weight, and low health resistance. This is a lifesaver. So, yeah. Of course, moving on to those, you get the first ranks, then you move on to damage resistance while evading. It's kind of optional what you want for these two, but now moving on to these two, you need these two, because they're both melee related, and for like this one's a little bit more flexible. Like if you want to do something else, you can, but I highly suggest this one. But this one, you go for this. It completely makes this build a whole nother build. Like, you can do a lot of damage with this. Now going into our biotics, we look at charge. And I'll get into this here in a second about how flexible this build is, because it really is. Charge, though, I suggest that you use just to mainly get your shields up. Plus, it can also detonate, or I mean, yeah, it can detonate primed enemies for a combo. But rank 5, this is what I really do want to talk about. The others are kind of more your choice, but I would go for this. On rank 6, I would go for this one. But for rank 5, you have to have this. This allows you to charge an enemy, and then literally as soon as you get out of the charge, you can melee them for 30% extra damage on that melee hit. So it's very, very good. Moving on to Nova. This is just more preference. You can go really whatever you want, but I do on rank 6 if you go for the exact same build, which I highly suggest you don't. I suggest that you branch out. You find stuff that fits your playstyle. But if you do the same thing that I do, I suggest going for rank 6. I mean, for the top one on rank 6. Because this allows you to prime enemies for combos. Plus, it also does extra damage. Now, I have Backlash. Lots of people like to use anything pretty much other than Backlash. And I understand that. And this is probably the most flexible thing out of this. Is pretty much just like you can switch this for whatever you want. I just do kind of like it because, well, here. On the rank 6, I'll just read this one out for you. Increases damage inflicted for 3 seconds after releasing Backlash. Scales with the amount of damage absorbed by the Aglis? I don't know. That's like the only word that I can't read. Anyway. But this allows you to do up to 30% extra melee damage or gun damage. This is really good overall for pretty much any build. But it allows you to do 30% extra power damage and melee damage. Two things that really fit well with this build for 3 seconds. So that's really good in my opinion. But if you do go with this, go for the top, like on rank 4 and 5, go for complete health. Barrier, unfortunately, I'm only rank 36, so I don't have enough to spec into this. But if you can, spec completely into barrier and go pretty much full shields if you can. And then this one. It really does help, but unfortunately, I don't have enough to do that. Do offensive biotics, and this really comes into kind of, well, this one's a little bit more and a little bit not more your personal opinion, because you need recharge speed. Your charge is very important in this build, but lots of people in melee builds rely on charge, and I find that so dumb because you don't need to rely on it. It's not the main part of the build. You can do so much damage just with your melee hits. You don't have to rely on it, so don't go with biotic power power damage. Go with recharge speed. You use it to get up your shields, to do the extra melee damage. It's just, I don't know why people use it as the main thing in a melee build. If you want to use that, go for power builds. Or biotic builds. Now I went full bottom with this, and of course, last one, go for this, because it also counts towards melee. This one's kind of up to you though. Now, moving on to my containment, I went with the full top, pretty much. It's really up to you on this one. This one doesn't matter too much, but yeah. Now, onto my recommendations of what to use other than Backlash if you don't like it, or Nova if you don't like that. I would recommend possibly, I would recommend Omni Grenade. It really does help a lot, especially for bringing down really high like armor targets or high health targets. It really does help. But I wouldn't use this in a case for like killing like swarms of enemies. If you want to do that, just use Nova. Alright guys, moving on to my layout, I'll show you like my melee weapon, as well as how you can get it, and my gear. So, looking at my weapons right quick, I'm actually going to go over my weapons, my regular weapons, before I go over my melee weapon. Now, I'm using this one. The paw is a auto rifle, and I've just been experimenting with it. I don't really like it too much, so that one's kind of optional. But I do really like the Regar carbine. This is a very good shotgun. And I really do like it. And it works really good with this build, because you can, of course, put on the shotgun heavy melee mod, which increases your actual damage. And I've been testing with that, and it seems like it works actually. So yeah, just there you go. That gives you like a fair amount more damage. Okay. Moving on to my melee weapon, I use the Krogan hammer. There's lots of reasons why I use this, and the main one is you can get it at the beginning of the game. You can pretty much instantly get this, and it does lots of damage. It makes people fly. Like, I'm not joking, you hit someone, and not even if they're not dead, sometimes if they're just really low on health, they will go flying, which is great, because that gives you an opportunity to recover if you're on low health or something, or to charge them. So, or charge a different enemy. So it's a great weapon to have, and I'll show you that here in just a minute how to get that. Moving on to my gear, I'm using the N7 armor. Right now I'm using my Maverick Deadeye armor. Don't really know why. I had some stuff spec'd into it and I just wanted to use it. Also guys, if you can see on my armor, on my effects, it says chest on enemy killed, restore 25% shields. That's a mod that you can put on, or that's a mod that you can get, and then when you're making an armor piece, you can put that on that. And it's very, very good. I don't know if you can actually equip multiple mods, I don't think you can, but if you can, that'd be great. Because you could basically get like 100% shields from one enemy killed. So, yeah. But N7 armor is very, very good because it gives you shields, which is a big part about this build. Shields are a big part about this build because you're constantly getting them back. So, yeah. And then it also gives you 7% biotic power damage, which is very good considering that most of your skills are going to be biotic powers. Moving on to how I actually get the armor and weapons, you just basically have to go to your research center. So you can pretty much get this stuff as soon as you get the Tempest. So just go over to your research, go to weapons, and go pretty much all the way to the bottom. Here you'll find the Asari sword, which is also a good one, but I just don't like it. And then the Krogan hammer, which is just great. I'm actually going to unlock the 5th variant of it. Now, this is a great weapon, and you can pretty much, like I said, you can get it straight from the beginning of the game. But you will have to have some Milky Way research data. So, yeah. It also takes, Omnigel canisters, iron, lithium, and element 0, which is probably the hardest thing to get, out of this list. Moving on to my armor, you just basically have to do the same thing. Go to armor on the Milky Way research data, and then you can just, here's the N7 armor. Moving on to how I actually get those mods for my armor pieces, you basically have to go over to the remnant research data and go down to augments. Then go down to a shield oscillator. I think I said that right. And you can see the effects on a weapon. If you equip it to a weapon, when clip empties, restores 25% of your shields, which is also good. But I like the chest more. Killing an enemy restores 25% shields. So yeah. Anyway guys, if you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe and tell me what you liked most about the video in the comments. And until next time guys, peace out.